can't see any of you. Hello. I guess that's not.
They're there.
I'm supposed to pretend to be talking to you.
We couldn't get the rights to the song you wanted, so we just were playing.
That's okay. I don't really do rights. You have the rights.
That's true. Yeah. It was from the Speakeasy Project.
Right.
So you're from LA originally.
I am.
Right, and you do a lot of theater. So why not movies? How did you miss that one?
I can't plan things in advance very well. And if you do movies, you kind of have to know what you're doing in advance. And movies are like, well, people like Maddie are in charge of movies all the time. When you're shooting, Maddie's great, but like movies are about techies. Movies are about those people that have the little band of tape and the walkie-talkie. Like I live in Brooklyn and they're filming all the time now in my neighborhood. And it's a very technical endeavor. You need a lot of stuff. You need a lot of equipment. You need catering trucks. You need cameras. You need lights and all that. To make plays, you don't need anything.
I don't know, Wayne's World is pretty simple.
That's what you
I don't know, I haven't seen the behind the scenes.
Simple, yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you come to get involved in theater? When did you discover that you wanted to be a director?
Oh, in college, actually, I thought I wanted to be an actor, like probably most people that do theater. And then...
It's all right, Tim.
You then realize, you test yourself in a larger world and you realize, I'm just not that good.
That's why
speaking of you.
Actuarial science is my background.
Yeah. And so I went to Yale and I did all kinds of other things. I wrote plays, I designed them, I acted in them, and I hadn't directed anything. And somebody said, oh, you should maybe direct a play. And so I did. It was actually of the basic training of Pablo Hummel, which was a thesis project that we just did last month. So it was weird to come back to that. And so it was kind of a good experience. And then the show started and I was sitting out in the audience and it was like puppet strings. I got pulled up and walked myself out of the theater. I couldn't actually sit and watch the show.
Had you ever watched a show that you directed?
Well,
have you ever been demonically possessed since then?
Well, that's I mean, it was the sort of thing, because it was freaky to not be able to, like as a performer, you think you can make it better. You can, but you think that you can't in the middle of the show, right? Go a little faster, go a little. But when you're a director, it's you, but it's not you. And you're sitting out there, and then it's all in the hands of the actors and the stage manager and everybody else, and that freaked me out completely. And then I thought, oh, I guess I care about this. And here we are.
That's the way it was with my ex-wife. She freaked me out completely, and I realized we cared about it.
Did anything ever happen to that mug?
I just drank out of it.
Yeah, like, do I get a mug?
You should get a water bottle. If we were responsible show producers, you would have a water
bottle. I get like no mug and really short couch.
I've got pine needles galore.
I know, it's really good. We're going to try to use that later.
You can use the typewriter at any time.
I'm totally planning on it.
So how has Princeton's theater program changed in the last 20 years since you've been here?
Oh my God. Okay, so when I first got here, I would say that it felt to me, and I knew very little about the rest of Princeton. I would just take the train and walk across campus to 185 Nassau and do my stuff. And it was a really, really small group of people that I think identified themselves as being the freaks and the geeks. And none of them were involved in the clubs at all, and none of them they all felt like they were really outsiders of Princeton. One of these people was Jordan Roth, who is now a really major, he runs the Schubert organization. And we didn't have almost any money, we didn't do very much work, we just had our little converted gymnasium in 185 Nassau, and not much else was happening. But it was super interesting, super smart people, and I did it along with a bunch of other things. And then I went away for a while, and I worked with professionals who were in Baltimore. And during that time, the program started growing, and then the Peter Lewis gift happened, which, the good thing about the Peter Lewis gift, as opposed to this thing, which is cool, like all the library stuff, but that's actual money. Yeah. Which you can do things with. Like this, we can go to the library and look at that stuff, but like you cannot convert that into anything other than itself.
I mean, there's eBay.
Well, right. So that's been huge. I mean, and it's not that, like, the buildings will be nice. I guess you've all seen the construction site, but what it's allowed us to do is teach a lot more classes, bring in a lot more people, and also it's brought all the programs together. So we do stuff with visual arts, creative writing, dance, and more people are now coming here because they want to do art. Maybe that's the biggest difference, is I think that when I first started working here, when I first started working here, I would say honestly that if you were a person that could get into one of these schools, you would not think of coming to Princeton. You would go to Yale or Brown. And I think that's completely flipped. I think this is the best place to do art undergraduate in the country, hands down. No question. That's not like, I'm not like all rah tiger, I didn't go here. But that's true.
Yeah.
And so how did, another unique thing about our program is the way that like theater theses structure the fall department's program schedule.
Yeah.
How long have y'all been doing that?
Oh, forever, I think. Yeah.
And how is that different than the way like a normal theater season would be put together?
It's like through the looking glass. So the way that most theaters work, like the McCarter Theater, their artistic staff will get together and they'll say, let's do this play, this play, this play, and then they'll go out and find people to hire to do directors and actors and designers. And we do it completely the opposite. We invite juniors to propose stuff. And then we pick the things that are the most interesting and challenging and the things that we can do. And so every year it's going to be completely different. And it's actually, for me, it's really artistically interesting. It's much more interesting than if I was thinking up, this would, my 10th year of doing this, and, I would get bored with my own programming. But people, another big thing that's happened is that there's a lot more music theater. That's probably the biggest change that's happened recently, and that has a lot to do with Professor Stacy Wolf, who came here with an interest. She's a Sondheim scholar, and brought a lot of those people. For Stacy, right? And so we have now a music theater lab, and now we have John Doyle teaching with us, and John Rando, and people writing musicals, and there's a huge interest in that now, which I think is great, because really, the thing that America did for theater is musicals.
So speaking of theses, what would you say are the weirdest theses that you've seen in your time? Because there's a lot of student freedom, so it can go really right, or it can go
weird.
Either good weird or disaster.
Or nude weird.
Okay, I would say the most unique thing that ever happened, there was a kid named Sam Zedimer who graduated about 5 years ago, and he was a math major, and he was really into clown. And he wanted to make a solo clown piece. And so what he wanted to do was live in the Berlin rehearsal room, which he did. So it was a little secret, it's not actually allowed to do that, but he slept there and he hid his stuff in the closet. And then, that room's a little odd. That room has weird noises that happen. I don't know if there's, it's a rehearsal room. It's got a lighting grid and it's got various electrical outlets and little blinking lights and occasional sounds from the pipes overhead. And so that he made a theater piece in which he was just in the room kind of playing with all those sounds and all of that stuff.
It's an enormous single, though.
Yeah, right. And who knows what happened in there when nobody's looking? I have no idea. But that was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Did he turn into the Joker? Living alone as a clown?
Yeah, maybe.
So, how many plays would you say you have seen?
Oh my God. I don't know. Oh my God.
I ran into an alum.
23, 42, 150. Lately I only see plays that I work on. So either things that I'm directing or things that I'm producing, which is a lot of stuff here. I also work at Yale School of Drama with the graduate student directors there. So there's a whole lot. So that probably see 50 or 60 plays a year.
I ran into an alum who, I think before we had you as this guest, he brought you up 2 weeks ago at Alumni Day.
And he's your long-lost brother.
Well, no, yeah, he just described, he was like, oh, Tim Vasen, I must have brought you. Anyways, he was like, Tim Vasen, I was in England with him one summer, and we were like, he'd seen 70 plays that season already. And
no, I think you're thinking of Michael Cadden, who runs the Lewis Center. Because he goes to England, and he sees way more theater than I do. I was not in England.
I may totally be wrong with
Totally not me.
All right.
That's okay, I do see a lot of plays.
It's a little Michael Cadden shout out.
I'm going to blame the alum on this one. I think we switched you guys.
How old was the alum? Like 89?
Old. Yeah, I would say. He asked about getting on this show, on All Nighter. So he was like, do you ever take alumni guests? I've just written a book or whatever.
Oh yeah, see, this is the best part of my job that I don't like. There are a lot of those alums out there who have really good ideas for musicals and plays and classes and all kinds of things, and they had a great time in Princeton in 1948, and they really are their experience is really relevant, and they want to come back and they want to do their searing musical / play about some issue at Princeton, and they're really shocked that we're not actually interested in producing their work.
Have you ever?
No.
Never. And there's no, you haven't made a public statement to the alumni board to just let everybody know.
Get out.
No, we need their money. We need their money. No, but what we're trying to do now is get young alumni involved in stuff that we're doing here, and we're starting to create a kind of a community of people in New York. There's a lot of people from here that are going to do theater or dance or visual arts or creative writing go to New York, then the magnet, And so trying to connect people that have been out 3 to 5 years with people that are just getting out now. And actually, we had a guest director from Greece over Intersession, and there were a bunch of current students and 3 or 4 recent grads that came down and worked with her. And it was really cool to have those two groups of people mixing. But the sort of 80-year-old alum and the 20-year-old alum, maybe that's a different thing.